So it was not only about government job, it's about like that, the motivation behind that and everything. So that's why I was not ready initially to give up, and I wanted to let's just try one more time, let's just try one more time. So no, you have come so far, and it's difficult to start, like abruptly say like okay, stop it now and just move on. So hello everyone, I'm Sonali Neykar. So I've done BE Electronics and Telecommunication, and I'm actually 2017 pass out. So after my college, I started preparing for civil services. I joined one institute in my like Aurangabad itself, like Unique Academy. It was actually 1 year course. I completed that course, and then I gave like three attempts actually for civil services. But as it is clear, I was not able to clear actually civil services. So after then I was thinking for like I should move, then I was confused initially about should I go for MBA, or can I whether it will be possible for me or not to go for a software or not. Like I was a bit confused, but one of my friends told me that even with the gaps, you can go for MNCs also. He told me some of 2 or 3 examples, like he was having. So I thought, okay, means it's possible. So then I started searching for on a net ki what could be done. So actually then I came across a lot of courses online available. So some are data science, web development, like AI. So I was initially confused, and I did some research and everything. So then I decided, okay, I will go for web development. Then started like which institute to join. Like apart from Sharpener, there are more other institutes also. So there some are asking upfront fees, some are like pay after placements. But two things main I would say like that made me join Sharpener is first is a definitely pay after placement, because like pay after placement definitely as a student give me like a surety that institution will definitely take efforts to get me placed. Right, that's one thing. And secondly, definitely it's a self-paced course. So other courses that I like online available, they are like 6 months course, 8 months course, 9 months course. But I wanted to have a self-paced course so that I can complete the course as fast as I can and get place early.
You gave 3 attempts. How
Yeah.
difficult is it to crack these things like civil services and UPSC?
Oh, yeah. Basically, if I compare like software field, like what we are studying in Sharpener and UPSC, I would like. So I would say in a UPSC, like it has a very vast syllabus as compared to what we study in Sharpener. It's very limited syllabus, right? Well defined syllabus. But in a UPSC, the syllabus is very vast. Even if you take like optional, it takes to complete the optional, it takes 4 to 5 months only to complete optional only. So to get so that's why that's the biggest difference between like what we are doing in software and what's the UPSC. Also in a UPSC, the biggest disadvantage here is that even if you don't clear like first round like prelims, you will have to wait for a whole year to again attempt that round, again attempt that exam. So and but like in a Sharpener, even if you don't clear any interview, you will be getting interview within a 1 or 2 weeks. So that's so like one thing. So and to maintain the consistency for 1 year, it's very difficult to maintain consistency, to maintain positive attitude, concentration, everything. uh, so
So
that's what I
UPSC, you're
say.
telling me, is like a casino where you go all in,
Yeah, definitely. It's a very risk taking.
all in or nothing.
Yeah, it's very risky actually. That's why most of the students, they don't go for that, because like success ratio is very less. I would say like out of like 10,000 candidates every year apply, only 1,000 they are ultimately at the end going to get like post.
So I now tell me about post UPSC, okay, like post the civil service exams you gave, okay. When did you decide it's time? Okay, let's bunk all this. Let's try to do a new thing altogether. Let's stop preparing for civil services and let's try something new. When did you
Yeah.
decide it, and how was that transition? That is something which would be very
Yeah.
inspiring, I'd say.
So initially, actually, I gave my first attempt after my college, after 2 years, right? After preparing for 2 years, I gave my attempt, but I couldn't clear prelims. So, but it was like, okay, it was my first attempt. So I was like, okay, let's try for next attempt. So initial for 2 3 years, I was like, okay, I'm preparing. But after 3 years, if you see, like many of my friends, they are switching their, companies, getting hikes and everything. And what I was doing, nothing, So that was like very difficult for me. When I actually, I would say I had been, during college or school time, like a topper, like so like a good performer and everything. So it was very difficult for me to accept that even after 3 4 years I'm still there where I left. So at the college, so like I was still there. So but I didn't want to give up, and I was like, no, I wanted to do only this, only UPSC only. I wanted to this. I was giving UPSC not for a government job, it's actually for the position, right? because
Okay.
because it gives you the position is very powerful. It gives you chance to work for the betterment of society. Even like your one decision can positively affect thousands of lives in UPSC. The
Mm-hmm.
positions you get
That
after that was like my motivation, because my grandfather, both my paternal maternal, like one was in army actually, and one was a doctor, so he was like was serving in villages and everything. So I had a lot of stories. So like, yeah, so that's why that was my motivation for UPSC. That's why many of my relatives were saying to me, why are you giving banking exams also, right? So you can do that also. But I was like, I'm not interested in that, right? I wanted to do UPSC. That's why I was clear why I'm doing this. So it was not only about government job, it's about like that, the motivation behind that and everything. So that's why I was not ready initially to give up, and I wanted to let's just try one more time, let's just try one more time. So no, you have come so far, and it's difficult to start, like abruptly say like, okay, stop it now and just move on.
hearing your reason, no, I'm just thinking, no wonder India is progressing so much because like it has so many good folks who are joining these government uh, bodies, right? Like they're taking up such good position in these in the government.
Yeah,
No wonder because of such smart folks joining the government. Because of
because
that, like
IIT
India is
pass outs
progressing.
and everything, they go for civil services.
And you were talking about yeah, post that, like depression and everything. So yeah,
Yeah,
please
yeah,
let.
actually, because of that, I would say like every time, like because of me, my parents and my sister, they also suffered a lot, right? Like tension in a house, so everybody, but they always supported me, even when I decided to go for a civil services, UPSC. So my parents were like very supportive. Even my sister, they always motivated me, and every time. So even I decided like I should like then they told them ki I would want to join like Sharpener or there's some institute like this and everything. They were like, okay, okay, you know, they were very supportive and everything, and that's the reason I'm here actually now.
Did
So
they?
yeah.
So there is like very common Indian parent dialogue कि शादी कर लो उसके बाद जो करना है करो. Did that come
Oh
up?
yeah, actually, I was telling her that those 2 years before Sharpener was very difficult for me, because it was not like my parents, but they are also getting pressure from relatives also, right? कि अभी मतलब कितना टाइम अभी मतलब वो तो होते रहेगा अभी, ऐसा उनका था कि ये तो चलते रहेगा अभी ये एज भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, लाइक शादी एंड ऑल. बट आई वाज नॉट रेडी एक्चुअली. आई वांटेड टू once I settle and everything, and then once I get a job, then only I will go for like
So
we will giving you time and everything. So so actually my biggest support were my parents. They, so अगर उन्होंने support नहीं किया होता तो I don't think so अभी जो हुआ है वो.
definitely, definitely. Sure. So Sonali, I think the next question would be a little more around. Uh, Basically, it is like when did you start coding in general? Like this is something which people tend to ask कि बचपन से coding करते आ रही है तो I think it would have been easy for her. But tell us, like when did you start coding in general, Sonali?
In general, I would say like in my college, like as I am from ENTC background, in a second or third year, I'm not sure, but I had C and C++. as a language, but only basics of them, right? Like arrays, strings, and loopings, and all these things. So initially in the Sharpener's course, like we had a like DSA first assignment. So like first and second modules was were really easy for me. So that's the reason. Like start was smooth for me. So array strings and loopings and everything. But after that, binary search and stack and queue, they were new to me. And actually, I found stack and queue initially very difficult also. But I had watched a lot of YouTube videos, and then I understood that. And actually, React and Node, they were new to me. I never studied them before.
Okay, understanding. Sonali.
Mhm.
So stacks and queues was new, but yeah, in general, your journey is kind of very similar to most of the engineering folks which are there, right? Who
Mhm.
start off their journey, who do some coding in college, and after that,
Mhm.
yeah, basically one or two subjects is what they have. You've not done much
Mhm.
coding in school and
No,
all,
no.
right?
Hmm.
Fair enough, fair enough. So yeah, pretty much like 95% of our audience are like that only. So yeah, I hope
Mhm.
all of you can relate to this. Uh, so Sonali, coming to the next question which I have, this is one of the most favorite questions which all the sharpeners would love to know is ki, when did you finish off the course? Like how much time did it take you to finish off the course? I think you did
Yes.
full stack, right? Like you finished full
Yes, sir.
stack development, right? So,
Yes, sir.
what is it like? As in, like, how much time did it take? First of all, like, I would love to know that first, and then, what is it like becoming a full stack engineer?
Actually, I started in the month of Jan this year. So it took me around 6 to 7 months to complete full stack. So first I completed front end, back end, and then I went for like placements. So it took me like to complete the course 6 to 7 months, and then in the month of August, actually I gave my mocks, and I was in placement. Like entered the placement, I entered the placement.
Understanding, understanding.
Mhm.
So, Sonali, tell me about this. Roughly 6 to 7 months, okay, and then you started sitting for placements for full stack placements, okay. So, tell me about this. Ki, like when you had career gap, okay, what was it like? As in, how a company is treating you differently?
Definitely. I would like to tell one experience. Like first, that was my first company actually, the list lock company. So it was actually like first round was task round. So I completed that round, and then second round was final round. Actually that. So actually out of it was like almost like 30-minute round. So almost like 15 to 20 minutes initially we were discussing my gap only. I had to convince him convince the interviewer that no, initially definitely I was doing UPSC, but now I'm like good in coding and everything. Like I have interest in this and everything. But at the end of 15 to 20-minute discussion, he concluded that whatever it is, but at the end, being developer is your second choice. So that was okay. So I couldn't clear that interview. And then also recently, while doing giving interviews in Hiver, I was giving interview in one company simultaneously. In that company, actually, that interviewer actually that was a live coding, React live coding. So I did everything like what was asked and everything. But at the end of the interview, he was saying like, Sonali, so you had a gap of like 6 years and why so and everything. So उन्होंने ऐसा बोल रहा है कि like ऐसा लग रहा है सोनल तुम मजबूरी में कर रहे हो ये. I was like, well, I was not expecting like Mojpuri and all those words, right? So, but no, not every company is same. Even after my first company, I got so upset and everything, disappointed. So I called my brothers and this thing happened and everything. How should I handle these things? And they told me, no, don't take tension. Like you have just given one interview now, right? Give 2 or 3 more interviews. You will realize that not everyone is same, right? So even in a Saral X, like my second interview, the interviewer was so easy, right? He just asked me, you're 2017 pass out, so what you were doing in those 5 years, right? So you are like, were you doing any jobs or something? So I said, sir, I was preparing for civil services. So he said, okay, and he just directly jumped to technical questions. So both experience I had, right? Even in Hiver, they didn't ask me, any questions for regarding. They directly asked me intro, and they directly jumped to TSA and everything.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, that's I think that's what I also keep saying. Ki there would be companies who will reject. I also keep getting calls from people with 1 year gap also. who tell me, "Sir, I'm not getting shortlisted. Is it because of career gap?" Or so I tell them, ki, see, like some companies might be like that, but not all of them are like that, right? So just keep preparing, okay? Like don't get distracted by anything you hear from here and there. Just keep preparing. That's what my suggestion to them also is. And I also tell them to not take tension and not to give tension to me or anyone. That's the standard advice, yeah.
Actually,
So,
I will, now they will realize this. Now they will not call you now further, right? Even a 6 year gap can get a job. So yeah.
also, yeah. So, right, tell me about this thing. Definitely 6 months. Okay, you finish full stack in 6 months. Okay, so like normally what I've seen na, ki people tend to start off with a particular time frame. Okay, they have a routine and then they start following a proper structured routine. So, tell us about this. Ki, like, how were you planning your day? What was the structure of your day look like? Um, yeah, so
Uh,
like, how were you planning your day? When were you coding? When were you doing what? What was more effective?
Actually, yeah. As far as planning is concerned, actually I was not planning as for like number of hours a day or everything. I was planning like I wanted to cover this module in 3 days. I was planning in that way. So I wanted,
Okay.
let's say we take advanced JavaScript. So I like, even though like in Sharpener we have like timelines, right? You have to cover in
Mm-hmm.
5 days or 10 days. I want, like, I used to set my own targets, right? I will be covering this in 3 days. I will cover this in 4 days. In that way I prepared. And I used
Understanding,
to sit for
understanding.
whole days, like, because I wanted to cover it like as fast as I can. So I used to sit like whole day. My basic thing is to like, whenever I set a target, you should achieve that in that period only. So that was I was basically looking for.
Okay. So you were like you were setting up targets for you, and then like you were like to full day you were on it, right? Like you were not
Yeah.
doing
Yes.
anything else, right? Like fair enough, fair enough. So roughly, just to give numbers, I mean, like what kind of numbers were you hitting? Like in terms of hours, like what kind of numbers were you hitting?
Definitely, I would say 10 plus
10
10.
plus hours is what you
Definitely,
were hitting.
yes. Definitely.
Okay. So
Yes.
yeah, for getting 10 plus LPA, you need to do 10 plus hours of
Yeah.
10 plus hours of coding, right? Makes sense, yeah.
So when you're putting in 10 hours, right? So there would be a lot of phases where you would get stuck, right? So in those phases, what do you used to do, right? So when you're stuck, you're not knowing how to get that particular issue resolved, or you're confused in a particular place, right? How will you get your doubts? Like, how were you getting your doubts resolved, and how were you
Yeah.
tackling that time?
Yeah, for a DSA, basically, if I'm like stuck in a, like if I was stuck in any question, basically, I used to try for 1 hour or something like that. Even if I was not able to, do anything, so I used to go for a YouTube videos and everything, because there are a lot of YouTube videos available, like as far as DSA is concerned. So I used to do that, and as far as React and Node is concerned, so there is no shortcut. You have to sit 2, 3, 4 hours. You have to handle the errors and everything. You have to understand the errors, why it's not working. You have to do, basically I would say, like, to understand the flow of your code, you have to do a lot of console.logs, and then you will realize why it's not working the the expected way and everything. But
Fair
I would
enough.
say if your concepts are clear now, if your concepts are clear, then you will be able to, even if it will take time, but you will be able to clear it. Like, because if your concepts are clear, you will be able to understand why the error are coming in, means why they, I would actually would like to tell one thing. In a Sharpener, we have a group, and in that, like, student place their doubts, right? So, like, one or two students placed out, like, the question was like, it was an error, and it was like very clear error actually, like, cannot read properties of undefined. So I was like, why are you putting such errors? If your concepts are clear, and even like the line number was also mentioned, right? So if your errors, like if your concepts are clear, then you can easily, get rid of errors actually, and you can move ahead. But if your concepts are not clear, now then you will like stuck, and then then it will become very difficult for you, to manage. and to
Mm-hmm.
And
I
the
think
projects actually.
yeah,
you
man,
get
go
to
ahead.
learn a lot of things from the errors, right? Whenever you get an error,
Yeah,
when you try to resolve it, because a lot of people have this mentality, okay, like I am getting an error, let's get it resolved as quickly as possible. So they start posting it on the group, right? Without
because
reading.
yeah, because reading actually, because the error sometimes definitely sometimes the errors are we are like not able to understand, but sometimes they're clearly saying that this is the error. So you just have to read and you. So, but actually, I would say like if your concepts are clear, no, then you will be able to understand and resolve that error. So, but some errors, if you are like, I would suggest if you are not able to understand some errors, like then you can just copy that error and paste on Google, and you can Stack Overflow, and you can get it resolved from there also.
Mm-hmm. True. And definitely, we definitely also encourage the people should ask questions, ask wherever they're stuck, they should ask, talk to their friends and get the solution done. But yeah, definitely, you should try also to solve by yourself also. Like at least 1 hour, 1.5 hours, you should at least give first and try it by yourself. If you still fail, then maybe you can ask your friends or maybe mentors. Okay, but
Mhm.
you should sit with the problem. That's a very important thing for in order to become a good software engineer, like debugging your errors.
Definitely.
Yeah. Uh,
Mhm.
so, tell me about the most frustrating time which you had. Like, as in, I'm understanding it's self-paced and everything, but uh, I'm pretty confident that there would be a time when you would have gotten stuck like really bad.
Like
What was
yeah.
it like?
Yeah, first is in a DSA like stack and queue. I found it initially because like for arrays and string, I was able to solve it on my own, right? So I had some background knowledge and everything, but for stack and queue, it was like completely new to me. So I found it very difficult initially because I was like I understood the concept, what the stack is, but I was not able to solve it on my own. So that was like biggest frustration, like why I'm not able to solve it on my own. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos like for a question and everything. But now I would say like I'm comfortable now. So that was that phase, initial learning phase was. And also like making projects, during making projects, one was like uh, to make like we have a e-commerce project, right? In which we have to make, it was the first task, like we have to make the app user specific. I was like doing that for whole day. So that one also thing, and chat app, I would say like multimedias and sockets and everything. I also told you like why aren't you providing sources? So I like 2-3 days I was stuck there. Watch a lot of YouTube videos, watch like online resources available, like documentation and everything. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I was able to complete that task.
Understanding. So I like one major inspiration which we have. Like normally, one philosophy which we have is, like we definitely tend to give a lot of hints, a lot of hint videos, a lot of help. We tend to provide. Okay, we tend to explain everything from first principle, then try to give you all the content possible. But at one point of time, we also want you to explore these unknown territories by yourself
Definitely,
because
definitely.
we want you to be ready for the job, like because in job when you join, right, you'll not have these mentors available every day who will help you out. Okay, there would be these managers who will be like, figure it out yourself, search online, search Stack Overflow, search chat gpt. Okay, don't eat my head, but yeah. So that's why
Definitely.
we want you to also go through that frustration levels wherein you try
Yeah.
to figure out ki, okay, this can maybe like if I don't get any solution, then this is how I can find my solution by myself as well. Okay,
Definitely.
so
Actually, I would
that helps.
definitely say once after implementing multimedia and socket, I was so confident. I was so like, I achieved something, right? I was like that feeling. So even after like, I was after that I became socket so confident that I actually implemented in that in my mailbox also. Like we have a mailbox project, so I implemented in mailbox. I created my own backend with the MongoDB and implemented like socket also, and even added that in my projects like resume also.
Awesome.
So that really helped me. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely that's would have done
Mhm.
wonders, yeah, in the
And
interview
actually,
as
I
well.
would like to, yeah, and one more like interview experience. Like in Exalter, I was giving like it was a live coding round React. So initially the interviewer asked me to actually read the inputs and just print it on the console, right? Just so I was using refs. So they asked me, you are using like there was like inputs like takes name and password, two input fields. So they're like I was taking two refs, right? So they were saying no, don't do that. Do with the objects. Take in objects. Read the inputs in objects. I want you to take only one object. So I told them, sir, but I did only like using refs, and I know like one with the help of a use state, right? Like control and uncontrol approach, right? The two. So they told me, okay, do whatever you want to do. Like, so I did that, and then after they asked me to open, like, go online, open ChatGPT, and they asked me, so I wanted to now check you if I give you any assignment. Now you don't know, right, how to rate it in a single object. So this is your assignment. I want to see whether you are. So if you don't know anything, whether you will be able to like search online and do your research, and whether you will be able to do it or not. So they asked me, in the interview they asked me to open a chat GPT, and then I open and I asked chat GPT, and so with the help of chat GPT I did that. So they was like checking whether if any assignment comes which I don't know initially. So with will I be able to do that by going through online and all the resources provided in online? That's how.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, that definitely like makes you like, because they at the end of the day they want to solve problem, like they want to hire problem solvers, right? They don't
Hmm.
want to hire like React developer or backend developer. They want to hire people who can find solutions by themselves. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think pretty much that's kind of answers the question. So I like one last cliche question is what I have. Okay, is ki this we ask everyone ki whom did you like when you got your first offer? What was your reaction like, and whom did you call? Whom did you inform the first?
Yeah, actually, when I got a call from Hiver, I was at home only. So I told my parents, my sister, they were like very happy. So then actually it took me like 2-3 days actually to accept that at the end I got a job. I was because those 6 years and everything, like, so like I was completely shattered actually. So it became very difficult for me to accept at the end ki, okay, now I have a job. So then I actually called yes sir also, Aditya sir also, and